Story 1. The Man in the Theater. It was April of 2015. I was 16 at the time. That night, my girlfriend, my 9-year-old little brother, and I went to a small local movie theater to see It Follows. It was a Wednesday, the perfect night to go since I had Thursdays off from school and the theater would usually be empty. When we stepped inside, it looked like we had the place to ourselves. Until my brother pointed something out. There was a man, alone, sitting in the far back corner, dark gray hoodie, slouched down in his seat. He didn't move, didn't even seem to notice us. Still, it gave me an uneasy feeling. We sat in the upper middle row, right behind the railing so we could kick our feet up. We left empty seats between each of us. A little weird with my girlfriend there, but with my kid brother along, it felt more casual. I was seated at the far edge, closest to the aisle, and closest to the man. The previews ended, the theater went dark, and the movie started. That's when the real tension began. About 5 minutes in, over the loud crinkle of candy wrappers from my brother, I thought I heard something. A thump. Above and behind us. I glanced back quickly. The man had moved down one row. Weird. But I didn't say anything. Maybe he just wanted a better view. Another 5 minutes passed. A new scene started, eerie, quiet. And again, I heard a faint sound. I looked back more carefully this time. He was closer. One more row down. I leaned over to my girlfriend and whispered, half joking, "Don't look, but that guy keeps getting closer." She shrugged, didn't even turn around, probably just switching seats. I tried to focus on the movie, but I couldn't shake the feeling, so I kept checking. Each time I looked, he was closer, slowly creeping forward, a row at a time. Then he wasn't just moving down rows. He started shifting closer to the center, too, toward us. Eventually, he was just 3 rows behind us. Still, he hadn't said or done anything, but the way he moved, slow, quiet, deliberate, it was off, really off. Finally, I turned again, this time without even hearing a sound, and saw him 2 rows back, directly behind us. His head was down, staring into his lap. He wasn't watching the movie. I wanted to confront him. I opened my mouth, but I didn't say a word. I was 16, skinny, and terrified. A few minutes later, during a quiet scene, my little brother got up to go to the bathroom. I watched him walk out, and then I turned around again. The man was gone. The row behind us was empty. I whispered to my girlfriend, "He's not there anymore." She exhaled. Good. But I felt dread hit my chest. I jumped out of my seat and told her, "Wait here." I rushed out into the hallway. The lobby was empty. Then I saw him. The man in the gray hoodie. He was slipping into the men's bathroom. I sprinted after him and pushed the door open. And what I saw still haunts me. He was on his knees, looking under the stalls. Then, he looked up, straight at me. At that same moment, I heard a voice behind me. "Hey, what are you doing?" It was my little brother. He wasn't in the bathroom. He had gone the other way. He was safe. I ran to him and grabbed his hand, got my girlfriend from the theater, and the 3 of us rushed to the front desk. The kid working the ticket booth called the police. When they checked the security footage, it showed the man stalking the hallway, walking into the bathroom, and crouching. We filed a police report, but he was never caught. To this day, no one knows who he was or what he wanted. But if my little brother had gone into that bathroom, even if I had shown up in time, I don't know what would have happened, and I never want to find out. Story 2. Alone in the theater. Back in 2008, Cloverfield had just come out. It was the movie everyone was talking about, and I had to see it. Problem was, all my friends had already gone without me. I didn't want to look pathetic going alone, but I had no work or school on Thursdays, so I figured, why not sneak in a solo showing on Wednesday night? Quiet theater, late screening, perfect. I showed up for the 9:30 showing at a small, old cinema near home, bought my ticket. As soon as I stepped inside, I knew something was off. The place was dead, not just quiet, empty. No employees in sight. No chatter. No popcorn machines humming, just silence. Still, I brushed it off. Maybe it was a slow night. I walked into the screening room, and it was completely empty. 2 large sections of seats stretched out in front of me. I picked a spot in the bottom row of the upper section, just behind a short dividing wall. The movie started, and for a while, everything was fine. But during the quieter moments, and there weren't many, I kept hearing things. Faint, but there. Like whispers. Was someone behind me? I turned. Nothing. Just rows of empty seats swallowed by darkness. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe it was just the surround sound. I tried to focus on the movie, but the sounds didn't stop. They got louder, closer, more persistent. A voice, not loud, but intentional. A frantic, crazed whispering, too garbled to understand. I froze. I turned again. Still no one. But I knew I wasn't alone anymore. The sound was so close now, I could almost feel it on my neck. I stood up, heart pounding. I scanned the theater one last time before I left. And that's when it happened. 2 rows in front of me, a figure snapped upright from behind the seats. No sound, no movement, just standing. Arms stiff at its sides, head tilted ever so slightly, facing me. I couldn't even scream. I bolted. Ran down the aisle, through the lobby, still empty, and out into the cold night. Didn't stop until I slammed the car door shut behind me. My hands were shaking too hard to start the engine. Once I got it going, I didn't look back. I drove straight home. That night, I tried calling the theater. No one picked up, no voicemail, nothing. The next day, I didn't call again. I didn't want answers. And I've never gone to a movie theater alone since. Whatever that thing was, it wasn't watching the movie. It was watching me. Story 3. The Man in the Basement. One of my first jobs was at a small movie theater in Huntington, Long Island. I was 16. The pay wasn't great, but for a teenager it was fine. Except for the people. You deal with enough customers, and you'll eventually meet some seriously weird ones. But one night, something happened that still haunts me. It was a Monday, around 11 p.m. The last 2 movies were finishing up, and the place was nearly empty. On weeknights, we usually closed by midnight during summer, and that night only 2 of us were working. Me and Kathy, the woman at the popcorn counter. She called over to me from across the lobby, told me to sweep the floors while she stepped out for a bit. Said she'd be back in an hour to lock up. So I started cleaning, then went back to sitting by the ticket podium with my flip phone, trying to beat my score on a Tetris-style game. This part of the shift was always the weirdest. Quiet. Isolated. It was when I started thinking, if someone wanted to rob this place, now would be the time. Then I heard it. The front door, slamming open. I looked toward the dark lobby entrance, heart racing. I called out, "Kathy?" No answer. A man walked in. Older, maybe late 50s, wearing a long, tattered brown coat. His eyes locked onto mine the second he stepped through. There was something wrong about him. The way he stared, unblinking, like he was trying to read my thoughts. "We're closing up," I said, voice shaky. "You have to leave." But he didn't move. Instead, he mumbled, "Is Kathy here?" I told him no. Then he muttered, "I'll just sit over there for a while," and shuffled off to a bench. I didn't know what to do. I was terrible with confrontation. My hands were sweating. My heart was hammering. I sat back down, pretending to focus on my phone, but I was really trying to send a text to Kathy. "Some weird guy here asking for you?" The message took forever to type and even longer to send. Flip phones weren't built for emergencies. When I glanced up again, he was watching me, just sitting on the bench, still, eyes fixed. I stood up, walked away from his view, and sat behind a wall to put distance between us. But within a few minutes, I realized something terrifying. I couldn't see him anymore. I rushed back to my original spot, and he was gone. Kathy came back just as the last moviegoers were leaving. I told her about the man. She looked uneasy and said she might have forgotten to lock the door. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Before I left, Kathy asked me to bring the mop, broom, and bucket down to the basement storage. I opened the lobby door, headed down the cold concrete steps, and stopped. Behind one of the boilers, barely lit by the flickering fluorescent bulb overhead, I saw an arm, tucked in the shadows. He was there, hiding. I pretended I didn't see him. Slowly backed up the stairs, locked the door, then ran to Kathy. We checked the security footage, and what we saw didn't make sense. It showed the man leaving the building earlier, before I saw him in the basement. Kathy stared at the screen and whispered, "That's my ex-husband." My blood went cold. I told her. Someone was still down there. She pulled out her phone and instead of calling 911, tried calling him. He didn't answer. She tried again. This time, he hung up on her. That's when she panicked, pulled me away from the building, then finally called the cops. What she told them chilled me. Apparently, her ex had gotten into serious trouble with someone, a man who had threatened to kill her. That night, her ex had come to get her out before something could happen. Minutes later, police cars surrounded the place, sirens blaring. They went down into the basement and came back out with someone else, not her ex-husband. It was an older man. Cold eyes, slicked back hair. Looked like something out of a mob movie. Handcuffed, silent. To this day, I don't know who he was or what he wanted. Kathy never came back to work. I never saw her or her ex again. But sometimes I still wonder, if I had confronted that man in the basement, would I have made it back up the stairs?
Please, don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, the darkness is always surrounding us, just waiting for a chance. Thanks for watched. See you next story.